Welcome back, Leominsterites. It's our September episode, and with the kickoff to the school season and so many changes happening in the Leominster Public Schools Administration Building. For folks who haven't seen my office, I actually share some space in the Gallagher Building, which is where all the Leominster Public Schools Administration is. And I wanted to bring on some of my favorite ladies from the Leominster Public Schools to talk about different ways that parents and kids can get involved with the Leominster Public School community as we kick off the fall. So I'm going to have each of them introduce themselves, kind of give you their background on how they got to the role that they're in now, and then we'll talk about what they're up to. So, Gina?
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Gina Warrenin, Administrator for Leominster Public Schools, and I am proud to say I've been in Leominster. This will be my 30th year
That's
in
awesome.
Leominster, and I was lucky and fortunate to be at St. Leo's for 16. But I love my job. And getting to where I am today has been a journey that I absolutely loved. I've had opportunities as principal, assistant principal, curriculum director. If you talk about initiatives, yes, community engagement, media relations, but I just love what I do. And most recently was to open up a parent information center down at the Mayor Gallagher Building, which we have currently transitioned it to the first floor, which makes it so accessible for our families.
Yeah.
It's been a very good move for us. It was a lot of work, but we got it done with a great team. So that's where I am today, in the Parent Information Center.
And Gina is also super involved with the Leominster Education Foundation and roped me into it.
Yes.
And so on top of everything that she does for the Leominster Public Schools in her side time, she also works for the foundation.
Yes, the Leominster Education Foundation is also, I'm very passionate about. It supports our schools, and we have a wonderful board. Natalie's been on our board, which has been huge, and we have community members, teachers, representation from all community members on our board.
Yeah, and we're working to get the United Way Changemakers on our show in a couple
wonderful.
of episodes. And so you know, I started out as a change maker
You
in high
sure
school.
did. In fact, right after this, I'm going up to the college because we have our training for our champions today.
Awesome.
But Change Making United Way Youth Venture is a huge program in our district, and Natalie was in one of the very first venture teams, and look where she is today. We're very proud.
And I mean, the kids that I have
Yes.
met through this program blow me away. They're doing way better stuff than I was doing when I was in it. So thank you so much for all of your work with that as
Well, thank you for what you do every day, and you have a great assistant. Taylor's wonderful. Love her.
She's the best.
She is.
Jen, so you took over at the Parent Information Center?
We are co-leading right now, but our dear Gina, she's going to be retiring at the end of October, so the succession plan is she's teaching me everything that she knows right now, so then I'll know what to do on November 1st.
As an executive director who left an organization, as I transitioned into this role, it's awesome that you guys get to work together, because I had 1 month with my successor, and it was just really great to be able to, you do so much and you don't realize how much is just up here in your brain. So it's really great to be doing the work side by side.
Yes, very lucky that she is still here. I kind of don't want her to go, but it will be fine.
I don't think Gina's going very far.
No, it's difficult to speak about, but yes. I've enjoyed working. Yeah, we've got a great team.
Yeah. So Jen, what about, how long have you been with the Leominster Public Schools?
So I'm a newbie.
Yeah.
I've been here since 2013. I started off with various roles myself. I was covering for maternity leaves, and I ended up becoming a special education coordinator, but specifically a coordinator for therapeutic services. So I worked with students that were placed outside of the district, but still considered Leominster students, which was one of my favorite things to do. And then the social emotional learning piece, and branching out into the community and the schools and bringing that to light has been really nice. So I've had lots of different roles, and now I'm here in the Parent Information Center, learning new things every single day. It's a lot, yes, but it's wonderful.
Awesome.
Hey! So I am Trish Woodliff, and I'm more of a newbie than Jen Mundy, and I can only imagine to aspire to be a veteran like Gina Warrenin. So I will tell you, so I've been in the district a little over 4 years. I was introduced to this district as coming in actually Gina
Recruited
I was at a
everyone.
meeting, and so she introduced me to an innovative role in the district in Leominster Public Schools, and it really was about college and career readiness at a district perspective. So not being housed in a building, but being housed at a central office to have the leveraging opportunities to be out in the business community, working with the city's economic development department, and really just identifying those college and career pathways and what we could be doing with our high school students. And then that evolved a bit beyond high school, and we realized that we wanted to go younger and younger and younger to really start having conversations about next steps. Like, what does that look like when you're a sixth grader, and what are your plans after high school? Let's start having those conversations to help dovetail what it is they're going to continue to do in middle school and high school with course offerings or internships and things out in the community. So that then led us to exploring grant funding, and we brought back the 21st Century After School program, which is pretty exciting. So 3 years ago, we got our first round of an award at Samoset Middle School for 3 years of funding for after-school programming. That also includes a summer programming. Then we stepped up our game and said, well, we wanted equitable access and services across all middle school playing field, realizing that there was a gap in after school and targeted academic support outside of the classroom. And we went for Skyview, and Skyview was also awarded. So I'm happy to announce that we just came off our third year at Samoset, and we went back into the competitive funding pool. And for those who are familiar with grant writing, this is quite an agonizing process, but it was one that really got us going, because we got to reflect on what we did for 3 years and what do we want to do for another 3 years. So we had a site visit, we had a review of our 3 years, and of course the narrative piece, and we found out over the summer that Leominster was one of the 19 communities across the Commonwealth that got a exemplary grant to continue for 3 more years at Samoset. And I will tell you that is unbelievable. There were 7 districts that did not get awarded across the Commonwealth, so this is pretty huge for Leominster. So we're back at it, and starting in October, we're going to have our after-school programming at both middle schools, and we have a few things in the works, thinking about where's our third site going to be, because we're going to keep growing.
That's awesome. And I got involved with the 21st Century program back in its first iteration when I was a teen counselor at the Rape Crisis Center doing healthy relationship training with our kids. And it was just such a cool thing. I went to Samoset Middle School, so to be able to come back as an adult, a young adult, and talk about healthy relationships and do the work I was doing with the Rape Crisis Center, it was so great to see those partnerships with community members and giving opportunities to kids outside of the classroom that are really great.
That's so wild, and I don't know why I continue to be surprised, but every time I'm continuing to be surprised on how connected and how everything is part of this bigger picture. So coming into the district with college and career readiness, then kind of expanded our world a little bit more, thinking about that middle school and funding access. And then here we are having a conversation with our representative, and you started it, and doing a lot of work early on with a 21st Century After School program. So it's just, it's where it needs to be. So it's really kind of fascinating.
Yeah, it's such a great program. So for folks who are interested in their kids learning more about creative choice, about the 21st century and getting involved, we'll have the contact information on the bottom of the screen so folks can reach out and figure out how to get their kids signed up. And Gina, can you tell me a little bit more about the Parent Information Center and how it was conceived and all the different things that it does? Because I'm learning every single day kind of more services that you provide, and it's just such a great resource that I don't think everyone knows exists in Leominster.
The Parent Information Center, the PIC, is located centrally with all the other offices at Leominster Public Schools. And the vision and mission was to centrally locate where parents could go when they first come to Leominster and they'd like to enroll their children in our school system. So instead of having to go to one building for special education services and another maybe for ESL services, we could do it all in one location. It would make it easier for our families families. We love our families. Our families come in, and what we have just done is move it downstairs, as I mentioned before, because the families come, the children come, sometimes they might have a carriage, they're trying to maneuver, and to go up an elevator or up the stairs with the whole family, it makes it easier. So one-stop shopping, you might say, is a coin phrase, but it's more than that. It's where we can really get to know our families when they come to Leominster, speak with them, and then see what other services they might need, that we can help them navigate the system so that they can easily have those at their they can access those services. So that was the vision and mission behind it, and to provide exemplary service. We have a great bilingual team, which we need in the Parent Information Center, and they really work with our parents as we do and make sure that they have what they need. We want the child to be successful academically, socially, and emotionally in our schools, so we have a team that has talents in those areas, and we can help service our families. So that was sort of the goal. Put it in one location so families can come there, and then we can help them with what they need.
And the new space at the ground level is just so great. It's so bright, it's
beautiful.
open. There's like an awesome space for the kids to play while the parents are figuring out kind of all the services that they might need.
Yes.
But I'm just so thrilled to see that program continue to grow. And it's just such a great resource for parents who are figuring out, like, okay, it could be really intimidating enrolling their kids into a new school
Exactly.
system, or starting school for the first time. But I think the other piece that people don't realize is you guys are enrolling kids throughout the entire year. Like, it's not just at the fall.
Oh, no, it was very busy. Over the summer, of course, we registered many of our new K students that were coming in, but we still, at the very beginning, right before school.
I would say 2 weeks before school, we registered over 130 families.
Yes.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
And,
With more than one child.
And it was so good that we had that location, because we would be able to have a couple of families come in, but now we have that nice hallway waiting area
Right.
that they can access there too.
And check out other resources, and you have so much out there.
We have some, a lending library. They take a book and they walk away with a book, and then sometimes if they need some resources, if they come and they're looking for some other things, we can certainly provide those where to get them, or we might have something there that we can help them with.
Yeah. So do you have any new programming coming up, or any new things that folks should be aware of that you're excited about to talk about? I know you're going to be at the Johnny Appleseed Festival, so I don't want to...
Yes, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll have a booth there for the Leominster Education Foundation. But as to mention some of the programs, if it's free and reduced lunch program, which is not a new program, but the guidelines change every year, and the documentation has to be accurate for our district. So free and reduced lunch program, school choice applications are taken at the Parent Information Center. Along with that, the initial registration packet. And then, of course, if they have any other language along with English or just another language, then we have to provide the screenings and the scheduling and the resources we need for that. So we have a staff member now that helps with that.
And it's super important, folks might not realize that we capture the whole picture of kind of the student
Exactly.
population, because it allows us to get more money from the state. And if we're not capturing that and folks aren't disclosing it, I think it's so great that you have this welcoming environment where folks can really get to know you and trust you and talk about what's going on with their family, so that they can get all of the services that they need. And in situations, I got to tour the Breakfast After the Bell program, which is I'm such a huge fan of, but because there's such a need in our community, we allow all of our kids to have access to breakfast.
And to piggyback on what you just said about the data and being accurate in our data, we were very lucky to receive or qualify for free lunch and breakfast for all of our K through 5 schools. So
That's amazing.
And they have that, and it was all because of centrally locating, the work that's done at the Parent Information Center, the whole central office, but the work that's done out in our schools to make sure the documentation is correct. We have secretaries in every school that work very hard to make sure that that is correct, and we help support that at the PIC. So that's something that we're very happy with this year, so those children have those free meals. And then we want to expand because our middle school and our high school students need that as well.
Yeah.
So the work continues,
Yeah.
and we need all parents every year to apply, whether they think they might be qualified for a free or reduced lunch or not. Having the data helps us as a district. So that's a message.
Yeah, that's a really important point that Gina mentions as well, that, we make the assumptions. I know I had, as a mom, filling out free and reduced lunch forms or not filling them out because I determined that I wasn't eligible, and that it was just associated with our breakfast or lunch programming. Well, that form is really a tool for a variety of other things for a public school system. So I really encourage, and at the high school level, students who may be not interested in going to the cafeteria, or, the families or children that are providing their own lunches, I would still encourage, whether you're eligible or not, just like with all the other forms that come home, that we're filling those out and sending it back, and then there's a lot of other work behind the scenes that goes into utilizing that information that's going to better serve Leominster Public School overall. So that's something I think is really important. If there's anything to take away with those forms, that fill them out regardless. That information is going to help the district on a variety of things well beyond just a food program.
And at the state level, I think there's a growing understanding about like these universal breakfast, universal lunch
Yes.
programs. No kid should be hungry.
Correct.
Like there's
Oh,
things that happen, like parents might forget or like be running late or not have gone to the grocery store. Like, so it's great to be able to, I talked to my mom when I toured the breakfast after the bell program. I was like, would you have been happy about it? She was like, if I didn't have to think about feeding you guys in the morning,
That's right.
that would have just taken one more stress off my plate.
Right.
And it's so great to see those kids have access to food throughout the day, because you're not learning if you're hungry.
Right.
You can't concentrate, you can't fully participate, you're not fully present if you're thinking about, my stomach's growling, I'm
Right.
hungry.
Yep.
I think I want to also say we understand how, I guess not, the forms are not easy to fill out, but there's nothing we can do to change those forms. So we are looking to try to get them online when folks come in. We're starting that conversation anyway, so they can be filled out right then and there when families come in. It will make it easier for them. And so we're going to try to simplify it as much as we can with whatever we have to work with. But if they do have questions, we have people calling all the time and coming in saying, can you help me with this? And so we are there if they do need it.
And it's awesome to talk about that, because there is so much paperwork, and at the state level,
yes.
we're trying to figure out how do you, when you qualify for Mass Health, you probably qualify for food assistance. So can we just fill out one application? You're collecting the same information no matter what. Can the agency share it?
Right.
And I've had many conversations with my seniors, especially in senior housing, that they're like, I'm filling out the same paperwork for the state and sending it to multiple agencies, and I have to get copies of everything. Can I just fill one out? Why can't senior housing also have access to all of this information? And I think with technology, we have an opportunity to really look at how do we make it easier for folks. Everyone has a lot on their plates. And growing up in a working class family, like the number of forms my parents had to fill out, and they couldn't always participate in school or show up to after school hours because they were working, or evening parent meetings because they were working, and that's really hard. And I'm so thankful for all of the ways that you try to make yourselves accessible so that parents really feel like they can be a part of the process. Because for my family, that was always something that they felt guilty about. Like, if I can't make it to this thing because I'm working, well, they're working to make sure that me and my
That's
brother had
true.
everything that we could do, and we could thrive in school.
And right now, many of the open houses are all scheduled, so that's the time. If you're in the building, ask for those forms. The schools have all the forms. If there's anything that needs to be filled out, that's where you could do it. But if you need help in doing it, by all means, come to the Parent Center. We'd be glad to help.
Yeah, no, that's so great. So 21st century, do you have ideas of some of the topics that kids are going to be able to explore? Is that?
Yeah, so it changes its flavor every year or every session. So just to clarify for those that are not as familiar with the 21st Century After School program, yes, it is a safe place for middle school students to attend, but it's not on a drop-in basis. It is not a intended child care circumstance. We have a great after-school child care programming. All of our elementary schools, Creative Choices is fabulous. At the middle school level with 21st Century, the idea behind this funding, what got Leominster determined to be eligible was really based on closing those achievement gaps. So looking at the data. So out of our students from 6th through 8th grade, where is it that we need to close those achievement gaps? So target population, at Skyview, a lot of the times, or per our funding, is really any of those Hispanic and Latino students that are not meeting their math proficiencies. That does not mean that we're not open to having other students attend our after-school program. That just means that's our target, because that's one of the largest proficiency gaps that we've seen in previous years at that particular middle school. So we're excited. We're going to be starting in October. Applications are going to be at both schools and available at the office and guidance. Some students will be identified and encouraged to enroll in the program. It is no cost to families. There is a late bus that also brings students home, and we run on sessions to allow students to be able to participate and engage in other activities, as well as instructors and community members to come into our after-school program.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody in the community, if there's groups that want to participate in coming in an after-school program, we would welcome that. But we tend to kind of dovetail into interest of the students that we actually get enrolled. So until we start seeing our roster, what is it that's going on then? And then we sneak in all the academic stuff. So students get dismissed, they come down and have a snack, they go to homework club, they get assistance based on their grade level or maybe where they're at academically, and then from there they go off into enrichments. And their enrichments are really emphasizing on that math and science piece, and supporting students with their meeting the needs of what they experience during the day in the classroom. Really just continuing that support outside of the classroom. And then the bus comes, and then they're off. So we do that Monday through Thursday, and Skyview from dismissal to 5 o'clock is those hours, and at Samoset is from dismissal to 5:30. So those apps will be on site, and I look forward. We have really some fun, exciting stuff going on, but I look forward to see what those enrichments end up turning out to be for the upcoming sessions.
Jen, do you have any other exciting programs that are coming up, or any opportunities for parents to connect?
So opportunities for parents in the community is we still have the interface program happening. William James College, it's a referral service. So if you or your child needs any kind of mental health services or support, you can call them, and they will kind of be, I don't want to say a fast track, but they will be able to hook you up because they have a database of over 6,000 providers within Massachusetts that they can help you get connected with. So that's a big, I think that's one of our pieces that we want to make sure that the whole community knows about. It's not just for people in the schools.
Yeah, and we'll be sure to link to that on our social media, because I think something I've heard, I serve on the Mental Health Substance Use and Recovery Committee, is Central Mass, it's really hard to find adequate mental health services, and having that warm handoff of they've been vetted, they're connected, there's already a network there. That's so huge.
Right. I think the other pieces that are still happening, we should say, they're the SWAT teams. The SHINE initiative has helped us in a variety of ways, and they're phenomenal. And in our middle school programs, or middle schools, we have the SWAT teams where staff are kind of the advisors, but the students really, they create mental health kits or support kits or stress kits for when there are exams coming up.
Yeah.
So it's really all about the students and what they think their community needs within the school. So that's still happening this year, which is exciting. I was able to connect with Megan the other day, so
That's great.
exciting. Yes. Yep.
Awesome. And tell me about Johnny Appleseed. What are you bringing? I can't wait. We've got some
We love-
surprises and some new things for our booths, so I want to see what you're bringing.
We love Johnny Appleseed Festival. It gives the Leominster Education Foundation a chance to interact with community, and it's so well attended, and kudos to all of those that put that whole festival together. But we recently became a new chapter of the Kiwanis Club in Fitchburg and Leominster. And so at the Johnny Appleseed Festival, we have one of their members coming, and they are donating child safety kits. And in the child safety kits, to community members, if they would like one, is a set of the plug protectors for your outlets. And it's all about child safety. And the other thing they're going to be giving in the kit is the temperature gauge for the bath water. So,
That's so cool.
This is, I think, gosh sakes, I never remember seeing that.
No, this is so cute. Like, this is super, super cute.
I
And
know.
so for folks who don't know, it literally on the bottom will tell you
On
if the
the bottom, yes.
water's too hot. So it's not only aesthetically pleasing, but really helpful.
I know. It's very, and then there's lots of literature that'll be in the packets as well that Mr. Bob will hand out to people of if you can't get your child to go to sleep. Of course, the burn protection and then window safety as well. And then some other safety reminders, a large information here on car seats. And so those will be available at our booth, along with, we're going to have some raffles. And then if Buffalo Wild Wings always partners with us and donate some wonderful of those boneless chicken wings that they love.
Awesome.
And the money goes back to the foundation, and then it all is distributed into our schools. And we help fund many grants for our teachers as well as resources for our schools.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you so much. Is there anything else as we're wrapping up that you want to plug? I don't want to miss any opportunity.
Just the community connections. I can't tell you how generous over the years. The community of Leominster has been wonderful to our schools. So we thank everybody.
I would like to thank families and students for their patience and cooperation around the restructuring of a lot of our bus routes and bus stops. So I will not
I
disclose.
know that's a heated topic.
It is.
Having been one of those kids on a weird bus route.
It is. So all jokes aside, there have been some, legitimate circumstances that needed to be significantly reviewed and accommodated or adjusted. In the meantime, there are many that have not. So a lot of this is about a much bigger picture conversation. So I just wanted to thank families for that and thank for student for committing to get students to and from school. And then just reminding one last piece of, about safety, talking about safety that feels, our younger kiddos we think about in Leominster, but I'm also thinking about safety at the bus stops, right? So just being mindful of, kiddos staying in their spot and parents helping, encouraging, and families encouraging that kids are safe at their bus stop. So thank you, Leominster, for all things transportation. Patience.
Cool. Okay, I do want to plug, before we wrap up, one event coming up that we're really excited. So last year we did this for the first time, but it's a low-cost vaccine clinic and a microchip clinic with Second Chance Animal Shelter. And so for folks who are interested, it's going to be the last Saturday of the month at the Office of Emergency Management. So that's September 29th from 10 to 12. If you have a dog, it's got to be on a leash. If you have a cat, you got to bring it in a carrier. But you can get rabies vaccines for $5, parvo vaccines for $5, and a microchip for $20. And thanks to an anonymous donor, we have the first 125 microchips are going to be free. So talking not only about kid safety, but animal safety
wonderful.
and the whole family. We are just so thankful for the Fitchburg Dog Parks, for Be Positive, for Second Chance Animal Shelter for helping us put this on. We're also going to have one of my favorite local groups, Sophie's Mission, who provides a pet food drive, like pet food. So they'll bring you a mobile pet food truck right to your home. So they don't want any families who are struggling to provide food for themselves also to be worrying about losing a family member of a pet. We want to make sure that families can stay intact and keep their pets. And Sophie's Mission is going to be coming and talking more about their services that they provide. So please come check it out. The Office of Emergency Management is at 37 Carter Street, and we're really excited to bring this event back and make it an annual event. And if your pets are already vaccinated and you're looking for more of a springtime vaccination, Fitchburg does this exact event in the spring at the fire department. So
That's great.
thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next month.